Hello and welcome to the Deep Three Podcast. This is your host, Matt, joined as always by Kevin, Sam, and John. How's it going, boys?
It's good.
Pretty good.
I'm back.
Thank God for that. All right. I want really quickly one word for all of you to describe Steph Curry. Just one word. Sam, I'll start with you. One word to describe Steph Curry.
I would say chef. Chef is a pretty good term here. Reminds me of Gordon Ramsay, all right? Because this guy straight murdering in the kitchen, dropping these threes nonstop. That was
All
17
right.
for the record. So
We got that chef cooking up the pot. All right, Kevin, what you got?
Dead eye. Just so you can pull it from anywhere. Just be like, yay! Got that Hall of Fame Dead Eye badge. 2K.
in 2K.
In 2K. John, what about you?
Legend. Respect him.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. For the only reason I'm bringing this up is a very common set of news of Steph Curry dropping 62 points. If you guys haven't seen, there was an article posted. I think John, you sent that to the group of the MVP candidates. Somehow Paul George was number 3. I have a feeling the writers were drunk, but we don't have the sources to really confirm that. So Steph Curry was number 5. Steph Curry was number 5 in that conversation. I think that's a pretty solid place to put him as of now, especially dropping 62 points and then the very next game dropping 33. I know that's like a very like wide gap, but at the same time, it's still like he still balled the fuck out the next game. If we're looking at MVP Steph, like maybe around that 5 spot range. John, are you seeing the Warriors as a better chance in the playoffs? Because I think those playoff chances really dive down after those first 3 games.
If this is the Steph Curry that you're gonna see for the rest of the year, then yeah, they're gonna be in the playoffs. And I don't even think they're gonna be a play-in team. I think they will be a playoff team, 6 seed, maybe 5. If this is the Steph we're getting, and also importantly, if this is the Andrew Wiggins we're getting, which I never thought I would say in 100 million years. He's not playing like an all-star by any means, but he's actually playing really solid defense, especially, weirdly enough, against Kawhi Leonard specifically. And offensively, he actually is starting to like learn how to play with Steph a little bit. And then Draymond being back just changed everything for them. They just look like they're operating so much better. So I feel more confident in the Warriors at this moment than I did before. Obviously, this season's so unpredictable that maybe next week we'll be like trash bottom feeder. But like right now, I like what I'm seeing, especially from Steph. He's on a vengeance tour right now.
100%. Sam, do you think number 5 is a good spot to put Steph Curry right now in the MVP talk?
I mean, look, this guy's putting up some real numbers. This is some higher level stuff, I would say. I mean, 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. Like, there's nothing more you could really ask for a guy that doesn't really have any roster. Draymond Green doesn't even produce, but he does have that vocal voice. There's that presence to say, "Get the fuck up!" Like, let's keep balling out. So I'm not mad about that. The only question will be the Paul George, which we'll leave out of this podcast. It'll be on a whole different episode at that point. But I'm kind of glad. I think Steph kind of got shunned out as soon as Kevin Durant got there. And let's be honest, the Bay is for Curry. Like, it was never for KD. I went to the Christmas game when Lakers Warriors were playing. No one cheered for KD when he made a 3, and he shot.
Yeah.
Curry drops a 3, and it's like end of the world. It's a great feeling. So I'm glad. I won't be surprised. Won't be surprised if he's like number 3 at the end of the season.
That's a fair assumption, and especially depending on how healthy Chef Curry can stay. Kevin, do you think Draymond Green coming back is going to be enough for the Warriors to solidify a spot in the playoffs, or to even make like a run at all during the playoffs? Do you think Draymond Green is the answer for that, or do you think he's kind of just another piece?
I think we've kind of already seen it a little bit. Like kind of what John said, I don't think it gives them a big jump, but I think it gives them enough to make a solid run for a lower seed in the playoffs, like an 8 or 7, give or take. I think him coming back at least puts them over the edge. I think we're seeing everyone said, like his production is abysmal on paper. If you look at his stats, not great, but he's helping facilitate all the other players and helping the team overall. And you can see the presence he brings to the floor, which is a huge, huge, huge advantage for a team that had no intimidation factor, to say the least. So I definitely think he helps in that regard. And I think we're seeing Curry's confidence boosted with him on the floor too. So that as long as you can keep Curry happy, I think that is a benefit.
Absolutely.
I think it was Shaquille O'Neal who once said that Draymond Green averages a triple single. And to Shaq, I say Draymond will be maybe the first Hall of Famer to ever average a triple single. This man changes the game for these guys. He makes this team work with Steph Curry, obviously, but he knows how to hit Steph more than anybody Steph plays with. They have insane chemistry. He always knows how to find that guy. It's like they have like a mental tie to each other. like they have like some kind of like twin telepathy thing going on. But it's awesome.
It is a wonderful thing, and you definitely did see the Warriors get I guess more in sync as soon as Draymond Green came back. I know a lot of the Ringer writers were really happy to see him back. I think Kevin O'Connor and Chris Verno were saying really, really great things about Draymond Green. I think we all know that Verno has a very, very, very big love for Mr. Draymond Green, though. So we'll see about that one. Some pretty exciting news coming up. LaMelo is the youngest ever. That's younger than LeBron James to post a triple-double, and he only did it with one turnover. Kevin, you're shaking your head.
I have a hot take on this. I think
what is it?
I think this is the most overrated record I've ever seen, because guess who the past two young players were to break this record? In order, last person was Markelle Fultz, and then before that was Lonzo Ball. So how are they doing right now? How good of a predictor of future skill is this record?
And don't do that to Markelle. Don't do that to Markelle.
What, you're saying he's a star? You're saying he's going to be the star of the team? No, I think a lot of people just are pointing to this and be like, "Oh, LaMelo scored a triple double. He's so young. He's so god tier," and like that, it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing right now.
Turnover, Kevin. I don't think Russell Westbrook has had one turnover in a game in his life.
You're probably right.
You heard it here, folks. John Murphy quoting LaMelo is better than Russ. Let's just put that out in the world.
Whose team is doing better right now?
Ooh, that's
I don't actually believe this, but I did. I don't know.
But you don't not believe it.
I don't think I want Russell Westbrook on my team. We'll talk about it.
We'll definitely talk about that next. I'll say that. Let's be a little bit nice to Markelle Fultz, Kevin. The man did just get an ACL tear, so let's cool it down, all right?
ACL tear.
Oh my god. Did you guys ever? I know Kevin watched it, but did you ever watch the spoof of the comebacks? Where the guy gets run over, where the guy eventually just gets called ACL tear. Like, I don't remember what his actual name was in the movie, but that's what we're seeing now, especially with Thomas Bryant getting his ACL destroyed. Very unfortunate injuries happening as of late. But why don't we get right into that Nuggets and Wizards game? Since we just started talking about the Wizards, the aforementioned Russell Westbrook, can't guard a parked car. Sam, for 500, can you name the person who said that quote?
No.
Bradley Beal, their team is getting worse and getting some terrible, terrible games. Sam, do you really think that this is probably like the worst, like the darkest timeline for the Wizards right now?
I think we've seen bleaker times with the Wizards. I mean, we've had the John Wall era fall apart. For me, this is no different for Bradley Beal. This guy's basically gone through World War III at this point in terms of basketball. I like how we were so optimistic about this Wizards team compared to this Rockets team, and it completely flipped the other way now at this point. It's a combo that you think should work, but like you guys said, at this point, no one can play defense. Your entire team's injured and overpaid. Rui's trash, Kevin. I don't know what else we want to say there. It's not a good team. My boy Davis Bertans, $75 million down the sink. This GM came from, I believe, NFL or from MLB or something. And I'm just like, your money match just doesn't make sense. Moneyball doesn't work in this case, because at this point, Bradley Beal needs to get the fuck out. He needs to be with the winner. And I think we say it, the Warriors, ladies and gentlemen, get him to the Warriors at some point. But it's just a disaster in being a Wizard.
Yeah, the splash triplets. Let's get it done. John, Russ is getting his numbers. Beal is getting his numbers. But the Warriors, they just can't seem to do it. They just can't seem to get those W's. What do you think is the main problem?
It's just that they really, truly are a terrible, awful defense. Bradley Beal is part of that problem, but you can't really blame him for everything because he's able to do things like drop 40 points plus, like in all these games. He's one of the best scorers in the league, but he does not play defense. And he doesn't get enough shit for that, I think, because the rest of his team sucks. And it's just easy to like not be excited to play defense in that situation. Like the Wizards in the past 2 seasons, including this season and last season, basically 11 out of the 13 games where Bradley Beal has scored 40 plus points, they have lost because no one else can get going. The team is a trash heap. Like it just isn't working. And we thought it would work. At least I did, because Russ and Beal make sense. On paper, they make sense as a pairing. But what we're seeing now is that Russell Westbrook, he just doesn't contribute to winning basketball. Like, he just can't because he doesn't change. And it's so frustrating to watch because he's not a bad basketball player by any means. He's obviously very, very talented. But, like, when are we going to see that, if ever, contribute to, like, good, successful playoff level basketball again? Because I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a big part of the problem.
Yeah. And one of the first episodes we released this coming season, was basically that, I think I said earlier that the Wizards are the same and they have always been the same. And they will always have the same playoff spot every single goddamn year.
I don't think they're even going to have that this year. Like, they're terrible.
Yeah.
The Magic are better than them. And the Magic have, like, 6 healthy players. And one of them's Aaron Gordon. Like... The Wizards suck. They're terrible. You know what? I would rather be the Bulls than the Wizards. And I said the Bulls were the worst team in the league last week. Trash fucking franchise. Abysmal. Send them to Seattle. Like, they're garbage.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. That was some really good fire. I like that one. Kevin, do you have any... Do you think that, in your professional opinion, that Rui is the all-time savior? Is he?
I wish, but I don't think it's gonna happen when you have Rui and Robin Lopez as some of your big men. Like, I don't think that's gonna happen. Like, honestly, I think John hit it on the head though. Like, this team just doesn't play defense. When you give up 141 points to the Sixers, like, yeah, the Sixers are good this year, 100%, but 6 players on their team that game had over 15 points. 6 players. Your top 6 players had over 15 points. That shouldn't happen in a game like that. Like, when your team scores 136 points and you still lose, there's something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Rui is definitely not it.
I'm only giving you that question because of Rui specifically, because I just wanted to see a reaction of the boy going on the downhill.
I want to hype him up, but he's underperforming this year to say the least.
Oh, it's rough. It's a rough
save
time.
Bradley Beal, save Eddie Avdia. Get those guys out of there.
Yeah, seriously. And I think Bradley Beal just needs to be on a winning team. I don't care that he doesn't play defense at this point. He just needs to feel like he's winning.
If you have like good defensive players around you, it doesn't always matter. Like look at Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry has never been a good defender. He's been like competent. He doesn't like completely fuck up. He like knows where he should be. Yeah. But like he's never been a good defender. He's just a great all-time great scorer and shooter, and you can build a championship team around that. But the Wizards don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I 100% would agree with you on that one. Kevin, your boy, your favorite team in the entire world, the Timberwolves. We're going to talk about them really quickly. Cats. Coming back from the wrist dislocation. Yeah, John is just super pumped because he got him in fantasy. He's a little bitch. Let me just say that. Fuck you. But Cat, he drops 25, 12, and 4. And they lose. Their 7th game in a row. You got any words of maybe encouragement? Something that they could do better?
I don't know if I have any encouragement. Cat, I will give him shit a lot. But he is a good player, but their team is just non-existent almost. When Malik Beasley is your highest scorer, like there's got to be something wrong with your team. Cat's good for sure, but I don't know. Like that team just has so much wrong with them right now. I don't know if they're going to do anything this season other than go for another draft pick next season.
They won't get it. I think unless it's like top 3, I think.
I mean, let's be real. The real fucking problem about this team, it really pisses me off because this team has so much potential, but they always mess it up. There's no sense of accountability by any player on this roster. I'm keep hyping it up, and you guys are going to keep bashing me, but Tom Thibodeau was the only person to set some discipline on this team.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Cat. The thing is, you have a lot of young bloods being the leaders, and you really can't have that to be that successful. Like you had Steph Curry be under the wings of like a Monte Ellis, a Baron Davis. He saw the strive to actually be better. When you throw Jimmy Butler into the mix, yeah, you're gonna get some heads bashing instantly because these kids don't care. Like D'Angelo Russell is a horrendous player. I'll be honest. Like I loved him in Brooklyn. He was phenomenal. That was the perfect fit for him. He does not belong with his friend Cat there. Cat deserves way better. I forgot the coach's name already, but at least it was the son of Flip Saunders, who was a genius coach. But Ryan Saunders is an absolute joke of a coach. Is an embarrassment to the organization, embarrassment in the NBA at this point. The only optimism I can say is Timberwolves, I'll see you in Seattle.
I would, that's fine. That gives me a reason to actually like them is if they're in Seattle. And that is the only reason that I would really enjoy their team.
We're going to give Seattle like 4 different teams by the end of this podcast.
But is that really a bad thing though? I'd kind of enjoy it. We would have Seattle of the North, of the South, and East and West. That's what it would be. North side Seattle versus South side.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a time. What a time. So I know one of the biggest things that we are dealing with right now in the NBA is the injuries, but more so the COVID reports. We've been having a lot of issues with COVID. This has really gone from like all the way to the good side of the bubble where everything is working out perfectly. All the guidelines are being followed. And then you have it where it's now, where it's just like every single thing that we thought bad could happen is currently happening. A perfect example is tonight. Boston Celtics Miami game is postponed because of Miami not having enough of the not having enough players to even play in the fucking game. And then you have on Boston's side, you have Tatum and Jaylen Brown not being able to play the game. John,
plus, like,
you
6 other guys.
see the depth chart, and I saw my boy Taco Fall starting. Yes, and then it was postponed. let me make this
maybe
clear.
in like a Globetrotters game before.
Let me make this clear. I just want to see Taco Fall to play just because he's a giant, and I enjoy that. I just enjoy that. Why don't we talk a little bit about the COVID issue, though? We have Seth Curry being tested positive for his Sixers, and that's falling down pretty quickly for the Sixers team. Miami's getting screwed over. All of these issues are just really, really coming up. John, what do you think the NBA can kind of learn from this? And are there any things that like they can do sooner than later, or maybe even mid-season that could help this?
You think they could hoop in hazmat suits? Like, I think what we're learning is that this is not going. You just can't do the season this way and have anything but this happen in the middle of a pandemic. People, and they're being very strict about how these players handle themselves in road games. They're pretty much not allowed to leave their hotels, and like that's just what you got to do, I guess, to like make this work. But it's not even working. And the problem is with basketball too, is that if you get one person getting a positive test, that means there's a good chance that almost the entire team is also going to be not necessarily positive testing, but you have to have them miss games because they were exposed. And that also means that it could do the same thing to the team if they find out, like in the middle of a game, if someone had a positive test, then the team that they were playing is also exposed. So it's just like, with basketball, there's not enough guys for that to be sustainable like it could kind of be with football, where the rosters are just larger. There's just more people you can fill in with. With basketball, if it happens, like the Celtics would have had to run out a lineup of like Carson Edwards, Jeff Teague, Marcus Smart, Peyton Pritchard, and Taco Fall. Like, it would have been a disaster. The Sixers had to play 7 guys, and they had Mike Scott technically available, but he couldn't even play because he was like injured. So they had to play 7 guys against Denver. Like, this is going to keep happening. And I don't see, and the league is sticking to its guns. They don't want to postpone anything. They postponed that game, but they don't want to take like a break, basically, because they want to get everything done. But the thing is it's just not possible. Like, you just can't do it outside of a bubble setting, and no one wants to do a bubble because it's terrible for their mental health. Like, there's just no good solution to this, and I think it's just going to keep being a problem.
Yeah, that's really nail on the head. Kevin and Sam, do you have anything to add to that?
I wish there was an easier solution, like something like a bubble that you could like force people to stay in one spot and not go out or things like that. But then, like John said, that's just like hurts the players' mental health, and no one wants that, especially the players, obviously. But that just it's just a lose-lose situation almost, you know. And I don't know what they expect other than this to just kind of keep happening, which sucks.
Yeah. I think to tag along with that, I think probably the best bet now is just expand the rosters. I know they talked about earlier, I think this is like going from 15 to 17 or 19. This might be a good opportunity for some of like the two-way or like the G League players to actually get a shot, because the G League is going to get their bubble in Orlando up in February. So I think this would be a great opportunity for those guys. In terms of quality basketball, we're probably not going to get it because these guys do a test and they don't have time to do a shoot around. So then like everything just looks really sloppy and there's like no sense of chemistry. And the teams that we watched in the bubble are like definitely not the same besides like the Suns. Like the Suns are the only team that actually But it just, like, I don't know if it's just me, but like for some reason basketball just doesn't seem fun. I don't know if it's just an overload or it's just because, I don't know, maybe just COVID case and then just a cancellation, or you lose a player and it's just like it's not the same feeling. I don't know.
I think it seems like everyone is kind of out of it right now to some degree. And it's like, I think it's the first time since the 60s that there hasn't been a team that started 10-0, 9-1, 8-2. Like, I think it's the first time since the 60s since that's happened, because everyone's just so inconsistent right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild to think about, not going to lie. I mean, like, at the start of the season, like, Orlando was number 1 in the East for the first 6 games that they played. Like, Jesus.
I think this season is actually a great argument against people being like, oh, super teams are bad. Like, no one likes super teams. Like, we're seeing this season, like, super teams is what makes it fun. And this season, everyone's pretty, like, even.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's just like, this is kind of boring. Like, let's get someone good in here or something like that, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think clearly, like, everyone just wants to get to the playoffs. They're like, oh, like, we just need to keep our fucking heads down and just, like, get through it.
Yeah. Speaking of that, why don't we move on to the Nuggets and Mr. Joker? The Joker, baby. He looks so good. Oh, my God. I am so pissed that I didn't take the time before the fantasy draft to start again to save Jokic on my team. It was a real bummer. Kevin, don't give me that shit. I know you're the one who took him, and I hate you.
It's averaging like 50 fantasy points, just so you know.
Yeah, appreciate that. It looks wonderful against you this week. Let me just say, it looks just fantastic. Look, he's looking like an MVP. I'll just say that straight up. He looks fantastic. I just looked on the doc and it just said MPG looks like the least vaccinated player. Who the fuck put that there?
That was me.
That was you. That's gold.
I think that guy's
gold.
a fucking moron.
What's your beef with MPJ?
Well, first off, he's a full-on anti-vaxxer. And so that's fucking, yeah, he's a fucking idiot. And he had to already do one COVID quarantine, and then right when he was about to get to the end of that, he fucked it up and has to do another one now. The kid is not responsible. He has bad people around him who need to just like, he needs different people around him to just tell him to get his fucking head on straight, because he's so talented, but he's a big fucking dummy. Like, and it's very like, especially right now, being that stupid and irresponsible hurts literally everybody around you. So like, get it to fucking gather Michael Porter Jr.
Did you guys know that there's a conspiracy theory around him? I don't know if you guys actually heard about it. Yeah, so there's a conspiracy theory that he says that COVID was secretly created for population control. Yo, this guy's flat earther. It's gotta be flat earther.
No, I mean, he's like
that's.
I think he had big education reform on his jersey in the bubble.
Well, he needs education reform.
Yeah. He's an idiot. He's like, and this is the part of the bullet point, but like, man, Jeremy Grant left because of this guy, because he wasn't going to have, there were other reasons too. There was a good article about why he left. It was very interesting, but like, he wasn't going to have a good role because of Michael Porter Jr. like looking really good, and like he was going to get more minutes. Jeremy Grant looks fucking awesome. Michael Porter Jr. can barely get on the floor. Like,
yeah, Sam, Jeremy Grant, he looks pretty solid in Detroit. What would you say?
Yo, Jeremy Grant, somehow with a 8-man power forward roster, it's phenomenal. I don't know how it's working out. I mean, at that point, every forward is just playing point guard, because Derrick Rose isn't playing. Killian Hayes he shouldn't play. So you just need point Grant at this point. And maybe he found a spot. Maybe we were all buffoons for thinking that he made a mistake leaving Denver. Maybe he saw the insider information about how MPJ is an anti-vaxxer and he didn't want to fuck around with a guy that's all about conspiracy theories. So I don't know. I'm loving the Jeremy Grant signing right now.
I love Jeremy Grant. I don't love Detroit.
No one.
I'm just gonna throw that in there. All right. Well, we're going to move on to the next and final segment of the episode. We're going to have our game of the week, and we'll just talk a little bit about it. Right now, our game of the week is Golden State Warriors versus the Nuggets, or as Sam likes to say, the Vegan Nugs.
Oh, vegan
gang. Look, before the podcast even started, all four of us were just looking through the schedule, and we were just looking through all this, and we just John settled on this game because we were just like, I don't know if there really are any other better games right now. John, why don't I start with you? Who do you think is going to step up on both sides?
This game is 100%. It's just Steph Curry. This is not X Factors. This is who's going to be the reason it's fun. It's Steph Curry versus Jokic. That's why this is a fun game, because both these teams are not going to be very interesting defensively. They're just going to score a lot of points is what I am excited about. And it's fun to see guys like Steph and Jokic really cook, especially against defenses that just cannot stop them for shit. So that's what I'm excited for. As far as like X Factors go, now Jamal Murray is back into X Factor category. That guy cannot consistently be what he was in the bubble, which is exactly what I was worried about going into the year. So if Jamal Murray wants to show up, he's a big X Factor. For the Warriors, it's probably Andrew Wiggins still. So maybe Kelly Oubre. If Kelly Oubre goes like 3 for 5 from 3 one night, I'll eat my shoe.
And as we have seen Kevin and Sam in Full Metal Alchemist, that isn't not possible. We can make it work for them. I had to throw my weeb in there somehow. I have to do that at least once every now and then.
And we lost a listener. Thanks.
That's fine. That's fine. I accept it. I accept it.
One of our 4 listeners.
Kevin, don't tell them that.
4,000.
Oh my God. Kevin, why don't you add your 2 cents as far as who do you think is going to step up on both sides?
The big thing is, are the Warriors going to play defense? If they're not, they're probably going to lose, even though Steph Curry can throw up 40 points casually. And I still don't think it'll be enough to fight off the Nuggets. But if Draymond Green can actually play defense or bring something to the table, maybe. If Wiggins can play defense, maybe. Who knows? Or if Kelly Oubre can shoot more than 1 basket a game, maybe they'll win. I think Denver's a pretty steady team right now. I mean, obviously Jokic is obscene in the stats he puts up every game. Same with Murray. But I think if Gary Harris can come out too and put up the points that he has been putting up, which have been impressive for Gary Harris, I think that is just another offensive threat the Warriors have to worry about. And I don't think they can consistently guard 3 really good offensive threats. So yeah, it'll be an interesting high-scoring game, I think.
Sam?
I think the big factor I'm going to be interested in watching is Team Big. I think James Wiseman versus Jokic would be an excellent matchup, especially to pull Jokic out when James Wiseman has that shot as well. I think it's the ultimate battle. I wouldn't say ultimate battle. I would say it's a good battle between just all-around big men, because we haven't seen that in a long time. Probably since Dwight Howard elbowed Jokic in the head our last week. But I'm very disappointed in Jamal Murray. I just don't know. Maybe he's tired. I mean, I just don't know. I can't use that as an excuse anymore. I'm just saying you're used to the pattern. So at this point, you should be confident in your stride to ball out every fucking night. But this Denver team is really sad. It's really sad because you have to make Will Barton relevant again. And I think we all agree Will Barton is not a great NBA name to begin with. And to re-sign a Millsap, you sign all the wrong people, the people that were not going to help you. When you could have overpaid Jeremy Grant and probably still got minimum his expectations right from the get-go. And I think to Kevin's point, I don't even think the Warriors had to play defense because they played the Clippers and they won. And right, Kevin, it's our motto in 2K. It's 3 foul, 3 foul, 3 foul, 3 foul, 3. And you win by 10, right? That's how it works at the end. So maybe X Factor, RJ Hampton. He's going to get some minutes because MPJ can't stay healthy ever again. So I want some RJ hype over here, guys.
I haven't even. Yeah, has he played any minutes this season?
Yeah, man, he's played 2.
I totally forgot about RJ Hampton as soon as the year started. I wonder if he'll ever kind of become an NBA player, really.
Probably won't.
Yeah.
And yet he's the X Factor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We're going to really quickly go around the pod and give our W's for this game. I have Golden State Warriors coming out with the W, with the surprise W. John?
I also actually think the Warriors will win, and I'm not. I just both these teams are kind of in a similar spot in that they have generational offensive talents, kind of pushing them, but they don't have like anyone that can really be like a great defensive anchor, except for like I guess Draymond sort of. So I'm picking the Warriors. I think Steph's gonna light it up.
All right, Kevin.
I think I got to also go with Warriors. I think to everyone's point, they're just an offensive juggernaut of a team with Seth back in full force.
Stop. Don't say juggernaut. Don't give me that. Don't give me that juggernaut. Where's Clay? Where's Clay? Exactly.
Puts up 62 points. Okay.
That's one player.
All right, Sam. Sam, what do you got?
It's Warriors, but they're gonna do the same thing they do the Clippers. They're gonna be down by 22 entering the fourth quarter, and Curry's gonna drop 8 threes. That's what I'm calling for. They're gonna win by 15.
Gonna win by 15.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting watching Steph get more fourth quarter minutes. That's something that he really hasn't ever had to play. So he's kind of like been a little awesome. Like it's been really fun to watch.
I do enjoy watching Steph Curry play. I enjoy watching him play more than most people in the NBA right now. Love him. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. You can find us up on YouTube. Please click like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out a ton. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We did just update our logo thanks to the intern, John. As John knows, it's a bitch and a half to make this stuff work out, especially for our dumbasses who find little problems, little problems with everything. But hey, that's graphic design. But give us a listen, give us a like, and thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Peace.
Don't stage a coup. Get a vaccine.